And you would think maybe Joseph, like, this is his moment to get them back. Like, God promoted him. This is it. His dream is coming alive. Now his family is bowing down to him because they don't even know who he is, but yet his dream is coming alive. All right, so we've been with Joseph the last 2 days, and finally here in day 3, we're gonna skip to the end of his story. And at this point, Joseph has now had dreams. He's been tossed in a pit, sold into slavery. He's been promoted to number 2. He's been cast down to prison. And now we're gonna find out how the rest of his story ends. He went from number 2 to prisoner, and the prison warden made him in charge of everything, so much so that he didn't even worry about anything that Joseph was in control of. So fast forward, Joseph meets the royal cupbearer and the royal baker while he's in prison. And they both have these crazy dreams, and Joseph interprets them for him. The baker ends up getting killed and the cupbearer ends up being restored to his job, but forgot about Joseph. So a few years later, the king has more dreams and no one can interpret them, and the cupbearer remembers this guy named Joseph who can interpret dreams. So Joseph is summoned and he interprets the king's dream, and he says, here's what this means. We're about to have the 7 best years that Egypt has ever had, followed by the 7 worst years that we've ever seen. And so the king says, okay, what should we do? Joseph comes up with this great plan to store a portion of the 7 plentiful years so that they can make it through the 7 poor years. And in that, Joseph's family, who is back in this other land, finally runs out of food, and they show up at Joseph's door looking for food. Now, at this point, Joseph is 30 years old. The last time that his family saw him, he was 17, so he probably looks a little bit different. And so Joseph immediately recognizes his family, but his family doesn't recognize him. So this is our final interruption in Joseph's life. And it's your season of interruption that the people around you might not recognize you. You see, when you've been going on a certain level and you've been cruising at a certain way, and then all of a sudden you're interrupted, the people that are around you might not be used to that. They might say, whoa, what's going on with you? Why are you different? Why are you acting like this? Your interruption might cause people around you not to recognize you. So Joseph gets his brothers to actually bring back his father so he can see his whole family. And it's in this moment that Joseph decides to reveal himself to his family. And it actually says Joseph kicks everyone out of the room except his family, and he was weeping so loud that the Egyptians in the palace could hear it. That's some pretty strong weeping. That's some pretty strong emotions. And you would think maybe Joseph, like, this is his moment to get them back. Like, God promoted him. This is it. His dream is coming alive. Now his family is bowing down to him because they don't even know who he is, but yet his dream is coming alive. And so you see this moment where Joseph could have sweet revenge on his family, but he doesn't. He doesn't take it. Instead, he blesses his family and gives them an abundance of wealth, of food, of supply. He houses them. It's all these incredible things. And so we fast forward to the end, and his father Jacob has died. And his brothers look at him and they bow down and they say, we are your servants. We are your slaves, because now daddy's gone, and Joseph's probably going to have his way with his brothers. And Joseph makes this statement in chapter 50, verse 19. He says, don't be afraid. Am I in the place of God? You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. So then, don't be afraid. I will provide for you and your children. And he reassured them and spoke kindly to them. You see, what the enemy meant for evil, God is working for your good. Your interruption is an opportunity for healing.